Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode of Talking Halos. I don't even want to Nate. I don't even. I want to talk Angels baseball. I really do, because we have a lot to talk about. Really do. We have a lot to rehash, and we have a lot to talk about moving forward. But I'm sorry, guys. That intro was just horrifically bad. I do apologize. Like
It
that
fits for the
it
last
does
series,
fit.
though.
I did make it fit. We're switching this up. If anybody ever knows, I never wear angel stuff for reasons. I don't wear angel stuff, and it's fine. I don't mind. I own angel stuff. I don't wear it. Got the Angels hat on tonight. We're really switching up. I tried to get Nate to introduce the show. He did not let that happen. I was pushing it hard. Yeah, we're just we're trying here.
They're
They're
still in
not
the
gonna
playoffs. It's not
they're not gonna
like
lose the rest of the game. Like 8 losses in a row, fantastic. Like you talk to anybody 8 games ago, and it's like, oh, this team is gonna go to the World Series, and then all of a sudden, it's like the sky
this
is
team's
falling.
not even going to make the playoffs,
Yeah,
and they're
yeah,
going to
yeah.
sell in August or in July.
It's like,
I
oh, we
guess
need to bring
August
up these
1st.
guys. We need to bring. It's like no, it's. Am I allowed to blame the baseball gods for this? Because I don't know what happened. Like, but anything that can go wrong is going wrong. Like literally anything that and you can tell anything that's going on. Like I don't have good examples. Like Trout lollygag into a ball double. Like
My favorite one was the ground ball double play to Rengifo that hit the umpire for a single.
right.
Like that. That's just when you're like, okay, we'll pick this one up tomorrow. This game's over. We probably lost the
Let's get
next
out.
one too. We'll play tomorrow.
Let's get out of let's just go ahead and get out of New York here, and let's just find our way to Philly. Um,
Yeah.
let's try to take some positive away. I have one huge positive, and it's not crazy, but friend of the show, Kenny Rosenberg. I mean, just got to kind of tip the
Yeah.
cap to what he did.
Just
Like
great
he
job.
honestly,
He
uh,
wore one.
he wore one, and once he started pitching, it was like, all right, I hell of a job. You're gonna get sent down because you've done such a good job, but hell of a job. Like you've made an impression. Like you did your job today. You went out there and you threw strikes, and you did what Noah Syndergaard couldn't do. And like I said, like anything that can go wrong is going wrong. The offense isn't going. Though the Angels still have a top 5 offense in baseball. The starting pitching hasn't been horrible. It hasn't been bad. We'll talk about Shohei Ohtani here because I feel like we have a lot to rehash with his start. Last 2 starts really, and then Reed Detmers I thought started. He had a pretty good start there. The bullpen came in, did their thing for the most part, and then I know he's your Andrew Heaney. I get it.
Oh, no. I'm just saying, I don't know if I would reward that as a pretty good start. I voted
5 innings,
okay.
didn't give a. I mean,
Four and two thirds. It was okay.
He did his
He
job.
was he was in trouble all night pitching with mirrors. Just
he did his job.
Ish.
He got out.
Ish.
I get it. I do. And I'm with you on that. But like game 3 of the series, the second game of the doubleheader, it just, it was like, all right, like let's just get out of New York. Let's start fresh. That's what it felt like. June had seemed to have been a decent month for the Angels coming into this, and then all of a sudden it's just been kind of falling apart. Regardless, you got any positives to take away right now? Like really, like I don't have very many positives. Like Kenny looks fine, looked great, fantastic, 99 pitches. Unfortunately, got sent down. The offense needs to pick it up. The pitching.
Velasquez still plays good defense. I don't know.
Velasquez still plays good defense.
Rengifo looked decent, until today's, the nightcap. Walsh.
They're not panicking. 8 losses in a row, and the Angels aren't panicking. They're just playing bad. Like they're not panicking. They're not pressing.
I don't know. I think Joe's panicking just a little bit, honestly. Like for him to lose his mind in the middle of an inning, it's a little bit of panic.
Yeah.
That's not really a Joe Man thing in the middle of an inning. Like I get it. He understands. Like there are times and places for him to get kicked out, and that wasn't one of them. I actually would not be shocked if he gets kicked out of one of these games in Philadelphia if they get behind early.
Who's going to? It's going to be Phil Nevin. Phil Nevin's that's a scary man to piss off. I feel like.
Yeah, but Joe understands that that's his role. His role is to get everyone fired up, and if he gets kicked out of a game in Philadelphia when they're down, 3-0 in the third because there's a pitch that he thought was out of the zone that actually was in the zone or whatever, and he'll get kicked out and hopefully fire this team up. I think that's kind of what is bound to happen unless the Angels just get stupid hot and sweep the Phillies. But yeah, I think there's a little bit of a panic, a little bit of trying to do too much. I saw Walsh's last AB where he got hit by a pitch. It looked like he was trying to hit the first ever 7-run home run. It did. So it feels like some guys are starting to press. Some guys are starting to try to do too much with some opportunities, and you got to slow the game down and slow some things down. So I do think there is a little bit of pressing going on.
Oh, 100%. That was something I felt like we need to mention. Yes, definitely pressing. Like you can just see it. Like Trout's lunging, Shohei is flying. I mean, he's been flying open all year, but
that would be
flying,
why he's not not having an 800 OPS, because he's been flying all year.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, batting average for what it's worth. I know he's still batting 250 with.
I don't think it's 250 anymore.
He was at 250 at some point.
I think it's 240.
Did he drop that low in that amount of time?
His OPS was under 800, which as a power hitter, your OPS should be minimum 800.
Yes. Yes.
He's 244 with a 777 OPS. That is not good from a guy that people are wanting to lock up long term.
And everybody's pressing. You mentioned it. Like you said it perfectly. You know what would really cement it in stone in a sense, and I don't know if cement in stone is the correct term for this, but if Mike Trout or Shohei Ohtani got thrown out of a game, that's how you would know it was like enough is enough type of thing. And I feel like you're kind of getting to that. We're getting to that point where it's
Joe's gonna go probably Friday or Saturday. That's my guess. If they lose Friday, he's bound to go Saturday. If the Phillies jump on him early, he probably goes early to mid Friday.
Yeah, I agree. So
weird that we're predicting a manager ejection here.
It's down to that. Like I said, we're mixing this one up, and that's going to be our. So if you guys are betting people, and that is somehow
if that's a prop bet,
go ahead and do that. Yeah, I'll take my chances on that prop bet. You go ahead.
Will there be an ejection? Yes.
So yeah, let's jump on to little Shohei Ohtani, second start in a row where he's just kind of not had it. Nate, I know you have a different thought than I do. Go ahead and throw yours out there before I throw mine out there. Even brought the glove out for us so that we can explain what I mean a little bit better.
Also, I know exactly where you're going, and it makes sense. I'm not going to say that yours is wrong. I just think that when you've looked at the pitchers from Japan, they've had really, really strong success early. And then as their careers keep going, they start to be figured out. I mean, we saw Yu Darvish. He had his years where they figured him out. We saw Daisuke Matsuzaka. We saw Masahiro Tanaka. Like, you go through all of these Japanese-born pitchers recently, and it feels like they have a strong 1 to 2 years, maybe even a third year if they're lucky. And then the next 2 years is like very, very average. Tanaka was a little bit more consistent, but he even had his highs and lows. Like Darvish has had his highs and lows. So I think it's just time where a little bit of funkiness, a million different pitches, and guys are just finally figuring out hey, this is what we're looking for at the plate. We're looking for this pitch and this count, and this is kind of what he likes to do. And we don't care when the splitter's thrown. We're never going to swing at it. And that could be 100% wrong. They could have something picked like you're going to mention here in a second, but I think that it's very possible that, the scouting report is out. Like, he has been kind of figured out a little bit.
Now, side question on that. Is Shohei Ohtani have the best stuff out of any Japanese pitcher that we have seen? I'm trying to think Darvish has had good stuff for a while. Like when he was in Texas,
Darvish
it was
had like
it
the
was good.
same stuff. Honestly, I would say Darvish and Shohei had the exact same stuff.
Very similar. Yes. I'm trying, like we didn't see Hideo Nomo. Would
I
probably
mean,
be
we
another
did,
guy. I mean,
but that was like what 5? Well, I was like 6, 7 years
yeah. I mean,
old.
so we didn't actually get to see him. We didn't have like the advanced stats on Hideo Nomo. That'd be
Tanaka
another
Tanaka
guy.
was
Tanaka
average.
did.
It, it
Daisuke was that guy who was supposed to
that
be.
Daisuke was good. He
Yeah,
had
no,
that
he
1 to
did.
2 years where he was unhittable.
Yeah.
Like Daisuke is like the big guy that jumps out. And you even look at Darvish, like he's had his really good years and he's had his really down years. So I just think that it catches up with them. They do a lot of throwing, they do a lot of routine stuff, and they get caught in this is the way we do things. And
And
it takes
more so for Shohei. I'll say that. Sorry for
yeah.
interrupting, but more so for
It,
Shohei, who's playing 160 games a year and not
it,
just pitching 30 games a year.
and it takes them a little bit more time to change. I think we've seen that with Kikuchi. It's taken him what 3-4 years to really change, and he's still not what everyone thought he was going to be. But like he's
exactly what I thought he was going to be. But no, the velo wasn't where I thought he was going to be. When he came out there on 96 with that cutter, it was like, oh, this guy's a little different now. But yes, you're right.
But like people thought he had a shot to be a 1 or a 2, not a 4 or a 5. Yes, he probably got overhyped in the media, but still, that's what everyone was hoping for when the Mariners signed him. So
yeah.
I think that it's one of those things where Ohtani's kind of got to learn to
pitch again.
He's got to learn, yeah. And honestly, I'm gonna say it. My dad's been yelling at me about this. I have been on his side with this. I've even mentioned it a couple times on here. Shohei Ohtani needs a couple days off. Like he needs to give him a day off before
give him
start.
Give him an IL stint.
I'm like that's fine too, but like honestly,
once Rendon, you got to do it once Rendon gets back.
If you give him a day off before his start, so he has a little bit more time to prepare. If you give him a day off, on his bullpen day or something like that, where he has a little bit more time to go through a different routine and really like get going. I think he needs something like that because this is a lot on the body. We've talked about this a lot. His July on last year was really, really bad, and that's kind of where he's at again this year. So I think he needs more off days.
Yeah, we did see him excel pitching wise last year from July on. Like he was one of the best pitchers in baseball. I agree. Like that's the biggest thing. I think that Shohei needs a day off, and the Angels have lost 8 in a row. Like now is a good time, but at the same time, I understand why he's not getting a day off as well. I get.
And he just pitched and hit in a doubleheader. Like give him tomorrow off.
Yeah.
Or
No,
Friday
I fully
off,
agree. Like I
bad.
definitely think that's it. I think that we're just seeing Shohei Ohtani just kind of, he's tired. He's tired. Onto the pitching thing though, onto the pitching side of things. I think he needs to become a pitcher again. I think we saw him take that step last year, and it was like in a sense Justin Verlander, which I think Justin Verlander is like the best pure pitcher out there when it comes to intelligence wise. Like I really do. I think he's definitely top 5. I don't know if he's number 1. Like there's some really smart pitchers out there.
Max is number 1 for me, but
yeah. Max, he was the first name that came to my mind was Max Scherzer would probably be that number 1 guy.
Kershaw's probably a close second.
But you're putting Justin Verlander in with 2
he is
Hall of Famers. Justin Verlander is a Hall of Famer, and he starts off with that he doesn't throw hard at first 92, doesn't utilize all his pitches. Where I feel like we see Shohei Ohtani just dive right in. We see the slider right away. We see that split finger right away. We see the cutter right away, and his fastball is not that good. Like I think we can both agree on that. Like it's 98, but
his spin efficiency is probably very average.
I
don't know.
So it's not a very high spin. So you're not going to get that. You're not going to get the up on
which
it.
is not great.
No. And I've always said,
which means it's easy to pick up.
Yes, and I've always said, like once Shohei Ohtani loses the velo, he needs to find a sinker. He needs to find a cutter. He found the cutter, which I'm cool with that. Like that's fantastic. And that's going to be a pitch that he needs to utilize a lot more moving forward as well. I want to see him get back to pitching, and be that Justin Verlander type of guy where he's not up there running and gunning. Like I don't care about. I think so. this is going to bring on like a complete side argument here. I believe that swings and misses have a part in this game. But there are times when swings and misses I don't care about. Getting quick outs is what I care about. And you don't need to strike everybody out. This is the middleman that we talk about, like every single time. Me and you talk about this on this show, like to each other. You need to find the middleman between advanced baseball and you need to find the middleman between old school baseball. You know,
You're saying he's Andrew Heaney.
No. I mean, if you told me that Reed Detmers was Andrew Heaney, I'd agree with you.
Well, I'm just saying from an Andrew Heaney standpoint, it's like, hey, I got to strike everyone out.
Yes.
Let me throw 100 pitches in 4 2/3.
Yes.
But yes, I did notice what you were talking about with Ohtani in spring training. It looked like, how hard was I throwing? It was like every other pitch, it was checking the velo. It was like, who cares?
Trevor Bauer, like, you know, like I got to go strike everybody out. And I'm fine with that mentality. I like that. Like, go strike everybody out. But the mentality that the Angels are bringing into it right now is throw freaking strikes. And you see it in the minor leagues right now, and they're doing a fantastic job in the minor leagues. And you're seeing them reap the benefits of it in the minors. And that needs to be continued here at the major league level. And they did a fantastic job of it up until these last 10 games. I think we can fully agree. Like the Angels were a fantastic team before these 10 games,
sure.
and
they still haven't beaten anybody, but that's fine.
We knew we talked about this coming into it. We knew June was going to be tough. We knew this was going to be a tough team. Yeah, we knew this was going to be a tough. Like, just stay at 500. Sit yourself at 500 in the month of June. You have some ground to make up now, but you know you can do it. You know, just sit yourself at 500 until you get to July when it gets a little easier. Back to Shohei Ohtani though. Yeah, I want to see him become a pitcher again. I want to see that 92 to 94 in the first, and then when he needs it in his back pocket, that 100-mile-an-hour fastball. You know, I don't need to see him strike everybody out early. You know, the swings and misses are fantastic. That's a part of the game, and that's part of Shohei's game as well. But I want to see quick outs. Like, I want to see guys get deep into games, and that's going to be how you get back into the swing of things again, is getting guys deep into games. Again, we saw Noah Syndergaard get deep into games, and he's kind of lost that touch in a sense. I think 2 of the last 3 starts, he just hasn't been the dude, but we did see him go 8. You know, so it starts with the strike throwing ability and getting early outs into games. On to what I was saying, though, with the tipping of the pitches. I do think he's tipping his pitch. Number one reason, you look at the Toronto Blue Jays games, and granted, Shohei Ohtani has faced 2 of the best offenses in baseball. In a sense, you know, 2 of the best teams in baseball. We can say that. I wouldn't say offenses, but 2 of the best teams in baseball. And the first thing that caught my eye, Danny Jansen? Danny Jansen. Catcher. Yep, catcher leaning over and on a slider, and the slider coming at his head. Knowing that something is either you know something is going away. Like either Shohei Ohtani is working away that game, which I don't think he was, because you're still going to have possibly that split finger, or something going away is coming in here, because there's no reason for you to be leaning over the plate already and then come back when something's up at your face, right?
He doesn't have that much stuff that goes into guys though, so I do it.
They could be taking that away. They could definitely.
It could literally just be away. Hey, the approach to Ohtani is we're just gonna sit on the outer half and go everything right center, because he's not gonna, like, if he busts us in, we turn on it, we hit it out, or we take it and move on. Like,
definitely.
That is the one thing with Shohei Ohtani, is all of his stuff goes away. So to Danny Jansen's credit, he has been one of the best. He has been one of the best catchers in the American League this year offensively, when he's been healthy, of course. But he has been unbelievable. And being a catcher, kind of knowing the game plan against Ohtani, I think he does have a little bit of an advantage. But yeah, that would be my one
out on that. Like, you understand the argument, though.
Absolutely.
You know, when you see somebody leaning over the plate like that, it's like, like there's something in my head that says, all right, I'm either throwing way too many pitches away, all my stuff is moving away, which is what
it does.
Well, or they know something is coming. I'm tipping my pitches. And then also, when we were talking about the swings and misses, this is where the swings and misses come into play, right? Like, Shohei Ohtani has the stuff to get swings and misses when he wants to, right? He hasn't been getting very many of those lately, which means there is something out on him. Whether it's and I know this is a weird argument and everything like that, whether it is the tipping of the pitches or, like you were saying, like, either argument is acceptable here, right?
Yeah. My one counter to that is going to be that all of his stuff goes away, and you're looking at 2 teams who are probably the best right center field hitting teams in baseball.
Yeah.
Vlad Guerrero Jr., like as much as he has the light tower power, he goes right center. Teoscar Hernandez, huge right center guy. Danny Jensen, right center guy. So you got a bunch of right center hitters on Toronto, and then you go to New York where everyone is like, all I have to do is hit it 315 feet and I get a home run. So they're all doing the same thing, right? Like DJ LeMahieu, probably one of the best right center field guys out there. Aaron Judge, one of the best right center field guys out there. Like you go through that lineup. Gleyber Torres is even a right center field guy. He pulls it occasionally, but you go through and it's like, well, that's probably why he hasn't had success against the Yankees in the past, because all of his stuff breaks away and the Yankees approaches. We're looking for something middle away to try and hit 316 feet to put it in the first row. Yeah. So that's my one counter to the tipping of the pitches.
Yeah, no. But with Shohei Ohtani too, you have the fastball that's straight. You have the cutter that cuts, obviously. You have the splitter that is sinker in a sense. I mean, for some people, depending on who you're talking to. You got the slider that works away, big loopy, and then you got the big loopy curveball as well. So you're right. You don't have that in pitch. I'd love to see him bring in a two-seam. I really would. That's
to be fair, the splitter isn't thrown for a strike too often.
That's
more of the strikeout pitch. So
that's why it worries me that somebody is picking up the split finger and bringing us into that as well.
Or if it's just like, hey boys, if you see split, we take no matter what.
Yeah. So it's like split's coming though. That's my thing. Like you're not seeing. I mean, like yes.
Well, I mean, you look at based on reports and like, hey, Ohtani likes to throw it with two strikes. That's when he typically throws it. He will throw it 0-0. Not really going to throw it in the middle of counts. It's more of a two-strike count or an 0-0 count. So you're just selling out for anything away. And he's not throwing that thing on the outside corner. He's throwing it middle and letting it break down.
Yeah.
So that I think that's not as tough to pick up as we're making it out to be. I just think when guys are expecting fastball and that thing breaks out of the zone, like, that's probably a really tough pitch. That's where we get his swings and misses.
I also think splitter, when you look at it, I would assume he holds his splitter like a normal person does, which is that two-seam grip.
Yeah, and so it's also very easy to pick up because it's not the four-seam.
It's not the four-seam. It's not anything. It's not that curveball. Everything that he throws is on that four-seam axis as well, when you think about it.
So the splitter is actually not that hard.
So I know, yes, but like when you figure out what you're picking up, especially so like in going back to that argument of it's going into the hand too, like he's also, you have to dig your fingers into it, and if you're not watching on YouTube, you can't see I have the ball in the hand. You have to
he probably is pre-grip split every time.
Yeah, no, he's definitely pre-grip split. He comes from behind, but he's not Matt Shoemaker either. Like you remember how Matt Shoemaker would come up here and do all this stuff so that you hide it, and you see a lot of split finger guys do that too.
Yep.
But that's what worries me is that Shohei's glove hand is right at his stomach, and he brings it in and makes no movement at all. So if he's changing that grip, which split finger grip, I mean, that's very easy, I feel like, to pick up as well, because again, you have to really push that in to get your split finger to be working well. That's where I stand on this. I think that, lack of swings and misses for Shohei Ohtani means that, hey, maybe he is tipping something, and I think that is the biggest thing. So look at his next start moving forward, and I know we've gone a little long here. Look at his next start moving forward and see if he changes anything up in his mechanics. I think that is that I really think that's what's happening. Shohei Ohtani has such electric swing and miss stuff. Like you could know what's coming a lot of the time, unless it's a fastball. Fastball is easy to hit. You could kind of know what's coming, and even then not hit it. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's interesting. It's something to keep an eye on for sure for the his next start. So Nate, you got anything here? We'll let everybody go. You want to predict? I'm gonna say the Angels are getting swept.
I'm up one. The Angels will win 2 out of 3. Trout will go off, going back home to Philadelphia. It's going to be his coming out party. He's struggled the last couple of weeks. A lot of strikeouts. I think he gets going and he'll hit a couple tanks, and I think the Angels win 2 out of 3.
I love your optimism. I really do. I'm going to go like the complete opposite of what I ever say. So like Angels are
just hear you say optimism in my name.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm the optimist on Twitter, and everybody hates that. So, yeah. I'm saying the Angels are getting swept. We're just going to go complete opposite. Like at this point, like the Angels need to go ahead and swing with who's the hottest guy, Jared Walsh. Everybody needs to go up there. Jared Walsh's bat. Who's the best pitcher right now for the Angels? Is it I don't Michael Lorenzen at the moment.
Not really.
I don't know. They got to go up to the exact same. They need to go up with the exact same glove. Like everybody's got to go up the same bat.
The Orlando Palmeiro ejection.
Yeah, just drop the bat. Just drop the bat. Exactly.
Everyone used the same bat.
Yeah,
if you guys don't know what we're talking about, look that up. Orlando Palmeiro struck out, left his bat there for the next guy on deck to use because they were all using the same bat back there.
The only guy to get ejected and then reinstated, I think, correct? Yep. Like one of the only guys ever. That's pretty cool. But yeah, guys, thanks again so much for listening to us, our banter here at Talking Halos. Nate, you got anything? Look at
I do have one other thing for you to think about. Dallas Keuchel, major league minimum. Would you take him?
Yes. Like okay. That's the innings eater that we've been looking that me and you always look for. It's like he's got the past. Yes, he's been bad this year. Did he get DFA'd?
Yes, he did.
Oh yeah,
he's a playoff. He's pitched in the playoffs.
The one thing that I like in the West, like that's a no-brainer.
His ground ball percentage and fly ball percentage is almost identical to Noah Syndergaard. So what does that tell you? He's getting very unlucky with the home runs, getting anything hit in the air, getting out. So I think you get him in a place where the ball doesn't fly as much, and he gets to play with a shortstop that's not Tim Anderson, who makes 10 errors in a month and a half. And who knows, maybe he pitches to like a 3.3 ERA and becomes a playoff type pitcher. So I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. We're usually the ones DFAing guys who make $30 million. Now somebody else is doing it. Maybe we can strike gold with that because I know the Dodgers love the Albert Pujols signing last year for nothing.
Yeah. That doesn't seem like an Angels thing, but you never know at this point. And I'm all for it. Like it makes sense if he's got very similar numbers to, I would assume some similar splits to what Syndergaard has, probably what Lorenzen has in a sense, like probably very similar to those guys where you see more ground balls, that pitch to contact, strike throwing ability. And he's been in the playoffs before. So yeah, that's the type of arm that me and you always say, like the Angels just got to go out and get some of these guys eventually. So as always, guys, just want to thank you all so much for listening to this podcast here at Talking Halos, again, making us the best Angels podcast out there. Thank you for, listening to this, even through the good and the bad. I know the Angels are going to get back out there. They can't lose the rest of them. I'm going to say that. This is a very streaky team. This is Justin Upton of teams. If Nate was ever to say something about Justin Upton and the Angels, again, very streaky team. You can already tell. But when these guys are hot, they're going to be winning a lot of games, and they'll get back to that. They will. They're still a playoff team right now, so don't worry about it. Blue Wire. I forgot to mention them. I'm very sorry, guys. Blue Wire. Get us some shirts, Blue Wire. Come on. So you can follow all of us on Twitter, Talking Halos, Instagram, Talking Halos. That's really all I got. You can follow myself on Twitter, Jared_Tims. You can follow Nate at NateGreen34. And guys, thank you so much for listening and have a great rest of your day.